I didn't know how much I was supposed to charge, but I knew it should have been more than that. I was overworked. I was underpaid. I was trying to build this business and it just seemed like things did not work. And I would go home and literally pray to God that my lights weren't cut off. And in the middle of the night, I would hear a tow truck and I would pray that it wasn't the tow truck to come and pick up my car. It was a struggle, y'all. The struggle was real. Fast forward a year later, I'm working with companies like Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, Microsoft, Bronner Brothers, and it's because I took the time to, and the money and the energy to invest in my. What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 1 of the Launch a Profit podcast. My name is Nicholas Marquis, Coach Nick. And listen, it's been a long time coming. I'm so excited for this podcast. So over the last 4 years, I've been helping entrepreneurs launch, grow, and scale. And a part of that is helping so many of my clients launch their podcasts. And I want to say, like, every freaking client has been like, well, when are you going to start one? So here I am. The Launch a Profit podcast is for aspiring entrepreneurs who are looking to launch a business, growing and established business owners looking to take their business to the next levels in a unique perspective. I'm going to be talking about not only my story, but I plan to bring in some of my clients and some people who are doing some wonderful things in the entrepreneurship space, the Black entrepreneurship space, okay? And breaking down their journey and making it relatable to us. I remember when I first got started in entrepreneurship over 12 years ago, I started as an event planner. I didn't know how to start, how to charge for my services, or any of that. And so this podcast is a gift to my past self, and a gift to my past self and a gift to you. So I hope you enjoy. This is Launch and Profit Podcast, episode 1. Let's get to this money. All right, so let's jump into it. So who is Coach Nick? So I started in this coaching space right after the pandemic, and we're going to get there, but I didn't start there. So there's a lot of these coaches out here who their first business and their first shot at entrepreneurship is coaching. That's not me. I started entrepreneurship over 10 years ago as an event planner right out of college in Miami. And as I tell you these stories, or as I tell you my story, I'm also going to bring out different points and lessons that I learned along the way to make it relatable to you. So lesson 1 is don't try to do it all and study business structure. So I was fresh out of college. And I was great at planning an event, but I was terrible at running a business. I didn't know anything about running a business. And I remember I got my first client and she had a baby shower. Now, when I first started my event planning business, I had this wild idea to be an event planner and a caterer. So offer both services. I'm like, I could do it all, right? How many of you right now are thinking that you could do it all? Be transparent, right? So I did the food, I did the decor, I did the invitations, I set up, broke down. The baby mama was asking me to fix people's plates, fix her plates and throw out trash. And I got paid $100 to do that baby shower. Now, I didn't know how much I was supposed to charge, but I knew it should have been more than that. And so fast forward, I got the call from, I feel like God gave me the call to move to Atlanta, and that was how I was going to revamp my business, right? And so this is where I took a turn, and I thought that it was a turn for the worse. I was like, why did I move here? Because it wasn't thriving like it was supposed to be thriving. The business wasn't thriving, okay? I ended up getting a job at Longhorn. I was overworked. I was underpaid. I was trying to build this business and it just seemed like things did not work. And I would go home and literally pray to God that my lights weren't cut off. And in the middle of the night, I would hear a tow truck and I would pray that it wasn't the tow truck to come and pick up my car. It was a struggle, y'all. The struggle was real. But it gets better, I promise you. And so I remember during that time, I would go home and I would have all this going on. I'm trying to build my business and I'm struggling financially, but I was still out hustling. I would go to work, work a double, and then I would be at the next networking event in a blazer and a shirt, which now is my brand. But back then, the reason it was a blazer and a shirt was because I was getting off of work and I had to go to the Goodwill because I didn't even have money to go to like any regular clothes store. I had to go to the Goodwill and put an outfit together. And my first outfit representing my brand was a blazer. Maybe I'll insert a picture if I can find it. A blazer, a t-shirt, and then I had like some jeans, right? And people would have never known that this was all going on. And I remember getting my first client here in Atlanta, which was for a lunch and brunch, and it just took up from there. So the lesson in my move to Atlanta is don't let your current situation dictate how you show up in your business. Don't let your current situation dictate how you show up in your business. Where it is right now doesn't mean it's good. That's where it's going to be forever. The way your business looks in the vision that God gives you, it doesn't have to be that way right now, right? And as we go along in these episodes and in these different lessons that I'm going to teach you, you're going to learn how to bootstrap yourself and pull yourself to the top. A wise person once taught me that proximity is power. And it's true. 10 years ago, when I started my event planning business, I had no customers, no revenue, no clue. And when I started to build a tribe, not a circle, but a tribe, I was able to start working with some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in the country and build a six-figure business. So now, as a business coach, I've taken the liberty upon myself to start a community called CEO Nation, a community for entrepreneurs who are looking to launch, grow, and scale their business. We have monthly workshops and coaching sessions, monthly Q&As, resources, and not only that, you get to network and connect with entrepreneurs from around the world. And you can get started today for just $1. So click the link in the description and get started today. Lesson number 3 is invest in yourself and invest in coaching and consulting. Listen, and this is not because I'm a coach and consultant right now. This is literally the key to success faster. A lot of us hold ourselves back because we don't want to invest in having someone who already did it, having someone who already went through the bumps, the bruises, the tests, and the trials, and give you advice and help you strategize on how to do it. I remember my big goal was to work with big Fortune 500 companies. I was like, how are these people out here getting these contracts? And I didn't know how to break in. I barely knew how to charge for a baby shower, let alone how to go work with Coca-Cola or BT. Well, it was the year that I scraped up change. I asked friends and family to help invest in me. It was the year that I invested and worked with this white lady. Her name is Melanie, and she was this event planner. And I saw her online working with like these big, huge conglomerates like Microsoft and these big, huge companies. And I paid to enroll in her coaching program when I didn't have it. Fast forward a year later, I'm working with companies like Coca-Cola, Delta Airlines, Microsoft, Bronner Brothers, and it's because I took the time to and the money and the energy to invest in my success. And so the other lesson in this is that if you want to gain the freedom of time, energy, and money, you need to invest and sacrifice time, energy, and money. Lesson number 4, know when to pivot. So at this time, I had a job as an event planner, and I had just brought in $1 million contract. I had a job as an event manager at a hotel while I still had my business as an event planner. And I had just closed $1 million contract. Y'all, I was given the bigger office. I was shouted out in stand up. I got a cute little bonus. Okay, I enjoyed that bonus. And then the pandemic hit, and I thought that I was safe. I thought that job security was a thing, especially since I brought $1 million up in here. You could find my salary in that $1 million. And my boss walked in, and I remember just like it was yesterday because they were laying people off left and right. So I was a manager. So you have your coordinators, and then you have your event managers, then you have your directors, and then you have your C-suite, right? And so I was a manager. They laid off the coordinators. Surely I'm like, okay, they're not going to lay the managers off because they're going to need people to manage at a high level. Boom, I'm willing to do what it takes, right? And I remember my boss walked in. He never comes to my office, ever. He walks in and he says, "Hey Nick, we have to have a conversation." I'm like, "Okay, like what's up? Am I gonna have to? I'm gonna have to, do coordinator work or like take on extra roles? Because I think I'm good, right? I just brought $1 million here. I just celebrated me and stand up 2 weeks ago." He said that we don't know how this is going to pan out. We don't know what this means for business. And as you know, we've been laying people off, and basically, you're one of the people that we're gonna have to lay off. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, now I feel like I'm going back to the days when I had a job at Longhorn. I'm thinking about when I used to walk in and turn on the lights and pray that the lights would be turned on. I'm thinking about when I would hear the tow truck outside and pray to God that it was not repossessing my car. And then I snapped out of it because I had already been at rock bottom and I already knew what it took to climb my way out, even though it didn't feel good in the moment. And so I packed up my stuff and I left. I asked if I could have till the end of the week. And they were like, "Yeah, you can have till the end of the week, to figure out what's going on." And while it pushed me out of my comfort zone, it totally pushed me into my purpose, which leads me into the last point, which is lean into purpose, lean into passion, and lean into your skill sets, your talent, and your ability to make it work. And so I started asking God, what am I going to do about my event business? Events is all I know. I've already invested in learning this game. I've already built these connections. Maybe I can take the connections that I built and see if this pans out. Well, all of my one-on-one clients or all of my personal clients cancel their contracts because we can no longer meet in person. And so I'm asking God, what am I doing? This what did they give us? The stipend, the $2,000, the $2,000 that y'all are hell bent over. That was gonna run out. Unemployment was gonna run out. Food stamps was gonna run out. Spent them on crab legs, and I'm asking God, what am I supposed to do? Here's the other thing, right? Success leaves clues. My friends and family was asking me at the same time because I believe that the pandemic, while it was devastating and it did take lives, it also opened our eyes that we can get out here and make this money on our own. And so my friends and family would ask me, "Can you help me start a business?" It started with like, "Can you do a website?" So I would do a website. And I'm like, "Okay, but how are you driving traffic to the website? Do you have that down? What are you going to do? Like, what is your sales plan? How are you going to keep customers?" So eventually, I found myself on Zoom calls and meeting up with people, even though we weren't supposed to meet up, and meeting up with people, teaching them how to build a business and how to be successful in this. And it wasn't until like maybe 6 months later, I asked my godmom, who was my first client, I asked my god as a consultant, I asked my godmom, "How much have you generated in revenue?" She said, "Oh, we've generated over $100,000." $100,000. Now, mind you, I hadn't even made $100,000 in my damn business. So the fact that she generated that in revenue in a matter of 6 months, I'm like, I have something here. And I was introduced to this world of coaching. And so I went and I invested again in a coach to teach me how to be a coach and teach me how to turn my experience and my expertise into a framework and give it to people. And now for the last 4 years, we've been helping people build six-figure and multiple six-figure businesses. And we have some clients who are going to do seven figures this year. So here's what I'm here to tell you is that you can make this happen, is that you have everything that you need right in front of you, even if you don't feel like you have the capital, which we'll get to in the next episode. You have everything you need to be successful and to thrive. And you just need to put a strategy behind it. And so I'm inviting you along to this ride. I hope you're ready to go. I hope you're ready to learn some things, have some fun, have some laughs, and get kicked in the ass. This is the Launch and Profit Podcast. And if you don't remember anything else, I want you to remember this: this will work.